You find this one here talking about the armed forces and remainder. Deepest apologies for the mix-up. It's a logistic challenge. We thank you for staying with us on AM today. Once again, I'm Sunday Kolawole, and Shadogiden is my partner this morning, and we're checking stories making headlines in the national dailies. We're starting with the Hope newspaper, and on the front page of the Hope newspaper, you have this story: roads construction, Ondo contractors back to sites. That's on page 3. And then you find the picture of the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day right on the front page, talking about the church service held yesterday at the Chapel of Grace, Government House Chapel, where you find the governor, Lucky Aida, to are flanked by members of the State Executive Council and members of the Armed Forces and the paramilitary. You get details there. Armed Forces and Remembrance Day were committed to security. That's coming from Ayeda Tiwa. And churches promoting poverty or cultism. That's coming from a particular don. The details on page 3. Economic are Nigeria's curse? What the question? Check the details. You'll find the answer there. Page 20 of the Hope newspaper. NDLA NAB suspect in Ondo seizes drugs hidden in shoes. Pages 4 and 5 of the Hope newspaper have the details of the story. Cash scarcity. Banks, POS operators, straight blame. Find details of that on page 9 of the Hope newspaper of this morning. On page 7, regular sex curtails prostate cancer. That's coming from experts. Well, I know many people want to read that. Mr. Bule Show is also actually very interested in that story. You see. But then, whatever it is worth doing at all to save your health and to improve same, please do. It does not matter what it is, as long as you're not breaking the law. Please take care of your health. Let me hand over to you, Shadi, so that you can also take care of your health.
Okay, from the Daily Hope, let's see what the Daily Times holds for us. Tinubu's minister, Buhari's chronic panic as Edo's panel begins probe. Alright, you see details of that on page 5 of the Daily Times for this morning. And still on the Daily Times, we have this one. Counter-terrorism strikes tribute to fallen heroes. We find details of that is on page 2 of the Daily Times. Lagos insists on January 31st deadline for submission annual tax returns. Find details on page 4 of the Daily Times. And on the Daily Times, finally for this morning, you have this one on page 4. IBB, military coup no longer possible in Nigeria. Well, it says so. You want to know why? Check details on page 4 of the Daily Times for this morning. So for those people hoping probably there will be a time where that was going to happen in Nigeria, IBB says no.
Well, interesting submission and assertion from former head of state,
Yes.
IBB, Brian Babangida. But for me, that's just his personal opinion. Personal opinion in the sense that yes, it will be difficult for any military officer to say yes, he wants to take over the reins of leadership. But we must not be hypocritical about our development. We must not be hypocritical about things that have to do with national development. We must know that the only thing that could enhance good governance and democratic rule is the right thing being done by the right people and at the right time by those who are the aims of affairs. You cannot be the president and then you're doing what is not and then you expect tranquility. There must be responsibility in the arms and the reins of leadership. So yes, we're not hoping for military coup. Nobody prays for that because even the worst of democracy, they say, is better than the best of military coup. But what is more, we must not, like the elders would say, we shouldn't be overjoyous. Kamal of fire for. We shouldn't be overjoyous and then we are doing things as if there are no restraints and constraints. We should not be doing things as if yes, it's democracy and then we could just do anything. Governors must govern well. President must preside well. Ministers must minister well to the needs of Nigerians. And then you're a commissioner, you're not the best. You are just adjudged to be privileged, and so you should do your best. You are a contractor, you should do your contract well. Let everybody sit up and do the right thing, and then with generals be basking in favor of democracy with modicum of irresponsibility. I think we should just do the right thing if indeed we want to enjoy democracy. That's more important than saying that the era of military coup is gone. We should do the right thing to prevent it. Otherwise, we might just be dreaming.
Actually, your position is right because hardly would there be a military coup where things are working in a nation. So, that's our Sunday's penny to you. I hope you take it seriously and spend it wisely.
Okay, let me go independently into the Daily Independent so that Bulesho can let me breathe this morning. You understand? Alright, Daily Independent is the next tablet we'll be checking this. Big interesting stories you find there. Leading the pack of stories on the front page, you find this one. Experts question CBN sack of bank board's management. And it comes with this rider. Ask ICPE's bank governor to explain details for action. Of course, Nigerians demand an explanation why you're sacking boards and management of banks. Tell us. Okay, find details of the story. Of course, it starts on the front page, spilling to the inner pages of the paper. And let's check this. Shetima leads Nigeria's delegation to World Economic Forum in Davos. That's on page 6. I'll be interested to know the number of delegates that have gone with the vice president, especially in the wake of
the compliance.
What the president did say that there is the need to cut down on foreign trips, the number of people who go, all of this. Well, while many people have applauded that, some, including myself, let me not be hypocritical, I'm not that very enthusiastic about it because even if it's just 10 people going with the vice president, at what cost? For how many nights? Taxpayers' money going into that. For what exactly? What are they really going there to do? Those are very critical issues because for me, cutting costs shouldn't just be about the citizenry. It should start from the leaders. If they could tell us that, okay, statutorily I'm entitled to taking this X and X amount, I'm forgoing X and Y for the sake of the current economic indices and the hardship that many Nigerians are facing, and then please let's channel that to poverty alleviation, not the one of the better in the game.
I was about to say, what happens when it gets to the poverty alleviation ministry?
Now let me tell you,
a lot of drainage.
Besides that minister, whose principal, the president, who said, okay, my security vote is 100 million naira. Hypothetically, I'm cutting it to just 40 million naira. This 60 million naira, Mr. Minister or Mrs. Minister, the person is in your ministry, use it for this and that. When you see the posture of your principal, it is anti-corruption, it is anti all these nefarious activities. Now, tell me how that person will also go ahead and do that kind of an illicit thing, knowing full well that your principal will not take it lightly with you. So everything stops, falls, and rises on the desk of the principal. So there must be that, not body language. You must be seen as doing the right thing. When the president is seen as doing the right, now give at least kudos to the president. If it were to be in some era, I am not interested in mentioning names, you would still know that. They will tell you, I'm not aware that there is any better edu scandal. I'm not aware. And they will never be aware until everything crumbles. Now that this current president is saying, look, I'm aware. I have seen this. And he seems to be listening to people. I have seen the outcry. I've heard the outcry of the people. Madam, you are suspended. And then look at the information that's going on. A review, a holistic view of all the social investment programs.
Quite a number of reviews going on.
Cash cow.
Yes.
Where you now come and then you siphon money and then all of those things just go into private pockets. And you are telling us that 3 million households in Nigeria got whatever it is you called it, during your time, and there are no traces. And you're telling me that, in fact, progressive governors, apologies. I do not know what is progressive about what they came up with, and saying that it's just still in the realm of our. For what?
Okay, maybe we should take the discussion.
Are they saying that Betty will come back with all of the loads on her
we
neck?
do not know until she's proven guilty.
That's what I'm saying. That they should leave this for the people doing the investigation. Let them come up with their probe. Don't preempt them. That you are progressive governors, and then that's the cabinet of a progressive president, so to say. That president is the president of both progressive and non-progressive governors. If there's anything like that, so let's just do the right.
So let's see what happens this day. Yes, on this day newspaper. We have this mixed reactions as Nigerians crowdfund ransom to rescue families. Such a sad one. We're starting like this again.
Sad, especially at the time when we are talking about Armed Forces Remembrance Day, and then it should not just be jamboree again. It should be a renewed commitment to security of lives and property. The president did say that he remains irrevocably committed to the development of Niger Delta. It should not just be about Niger Delta. Of course, yes, we need security of lives and property there. The security of lives and property of the entire Nigeria state is what we clamor for. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and we were juxtaposing Abuja and Lagos, and it will surprise you that the nation's capital is not even appealing to many people. Now they prefer to go into the Ozu and Bozu of Lagos, where they will at least be assured of their safety, unlike going into the nation's capital that's supposed to be the capital of security and safety. And then you're finding all of these, I don't want to agree that they are pockets. They're not pockets. These are overwhelming cases already. How would you captivate a family of 6 and then you killed one, it's just gory.
It's gory, really. Right, this is our story. Pant Ami says a friend raised 50 million. I guess the ransom was supposed to be 100 million. So a friend to the former minister has raised 50 million. Rigid security architecture, kidnappers, bandits operating unhindered. That is coming from Atiku as it charges the federal government. Okay. Like someone would say, when they're not in power, they seem to know what is right to be done. But once they are there, well, they seem handicapped.
The question is,
how true that's
how well is opposition emplacement in Nigeria? I think they should not just be opposition parties in the nomenclature. They should be doing what was being done in the days of Awolowo. When you have, for every policy, there's a counter policy deemed to be more productive, more impactful than the one the incumbent is placing.
Not just about criticism.
Not just criticism that are not constructive. Now, suggesting to government, how about you doing it this way? Have you looked at this other angle? How about this? How about that? But what do you find? in the current political configuration. You find people who are hungry, you find people who are self-centered, you find people who just want to get something in their pockets. And that is not how democracy will work. It brings us back to the first story. Let's not just say that won't be cool. Let's do what will prevent coup.
Okay. PDP heads to NJC over appeal court verdict hosting Plateau lawmakers. All right. Injustice inflicted on Plateau irreversible, says lawyers say state government can approach Supreme Court to set aside judgment. Well, let's see what happens. Details of that you'll find or beginning from the front page of this day newspaper. And finally, from this day newspaper, presidency. We won't spare anyone found culpable in humanitarian ministry scandal. That is assertive, and we want to see actions follow it, back it up with actions. Declares nobody will be left as investigating panel goes to the root of crisis. Says Tinubu will fix issues of incompetence. Wow. All right, now that's all from this day.
Let's check how sunny the day is then. From the Daily Sun newspaper, and you'll find these stories right on the front page. Imo Agog as Uzodinma begins second term. Tinubu governors storm weary for inauguration. We wish them well, but then it should not just be Imo being Agog for a one-day event. Imo should continue to be Agog for development. Imo should continue to be Agog for success stories, and not just for a one-day jamboree. Then let's check this one. Turbulent times ahead for aviation sector. Nigeria loses 40% market share over trapped $800 million. High fare compared to neighbors. Then jobs, $1 billion revenue at risk as small airlines plan exit from Nigeria. Details you find on page 2 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And talking Armed Forces on Remembrance Day, you'll find a picture of church celebration there on the front page. Supreme Court mammoth crowd welcomes Governor Yusuf in Kano. Governor appoints Ganduje, Kwankwaso, Ulamas, others into advisory council. You find details on pages 6 and 30 of the Daily Sun newspaper of this morning. Beta Edu, Ohane's youth's kick against media trial. Okay, page 28. That's the story. Media trial, all of those things. I wonder when the media
becomes a court.
Where you now find the gavel and then the weed of justice.
We will look into that.
Details of these and many more you find in the Daily Sun newspaper of this morning. Check.
All right, let's see what happens on the Vanguard. On the Vanguard this morning, we have quite a number of stories that perhaps we've not taken. Nigeria can't make progress without through federalism. That's coming from Obong Atta, and you find details of that on page 14 of the Vanguard newspaper for this morning. One is a youth praise Tinubu flame media trial of Beta Edu. Okay, that's details of that you find on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. And on the Vanguard you have this one also. Manufacturers threatened as CRR rises 45.5% to 13.81 trillion naira. Right, writers to the story say trend threatens banks' intermediary role. Okay, that's according to analysts. Companies' access to credit kept as cost of money rises. Details of that you find on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper for this morning. And also on the Vanguard newspaper on page 25, Catholic bishops decry high-level corruption in Nigeria. And Remembrance Day, governors drum support for armed forces families of fallen heroes. And finally, from the Vanguard is the sports story. AFCON Nigeria 1 and Equatorial Guinea 1. West of 1-0 in shock. Asked many questions about Eagles. One wonder what happened to the Eagles yesterday.
Well,
were their wings clipped or what?
I do not know what happened, perhaps. But then the weather condition there is not harsh. It's not as harsh as what Canadians are currently going through. I would have said that maybe the cold clipped the wings of the eagles and then disallowed them or inhibited them from flying. Well, the way Sporting Sun put it is that AFCON 2023 Osimhen fumbles as Eagles fail to fly. And indeed, expectations were high, but then it's not yet over until it's over. We'll see how some other games. We wish the Super Eagles the best. You can still fly, don't worry. Sometimes when you're kick-starting a vehicle and then the first time it's not answering you, you try the second time, it's most likely going to
answer. After the warm-up, let's assume that so was a warm-up.
I don't want to excuse that as warm-up because they had time for trainings and all of that. But then we cannot throw the baby with the bathwater. So let's hope that that'll be an improvement in their next encounter. Of course, you could get details of that and very many other sporting stories from the Sporting Sun of this morning. As we go on our first break on the Outlook, when we return, we'll be going into cursory analysis of issues having to do with society. Please do stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
As we are all aware, this is also the year for our governorship election. Expectedly, political activities will gain prominence as we march towards the election. However, let me implore all political parties, aspirants, and their followers to eschew violent conduct that can threaten the peace and tranquility of our state and ensure that they follow strictly the guidelines issued by the electoral umpire. The election should be a contest of ideas and choices and not an opportunity to settle political scores or an excuse for calumny.
to know you're still with us, everyone, on The Outlook. Now let's go into the conversational arena of The Outlook this morning. We're being joined by another journalist. Sabolu Luesho joins us. And then we'll be taking a closer look at the EFCC and what many have termed media trial. Mr. Sabolu Luesho, it's good to have you join us on the program.
Nice to be here too.
Now let's start from the conduct of government when it comes to the posture on anti-corruption crusade. Can we really say government, nay, successive administration at the federal level, can we say they've been serious about prosecuting the war against corruption? Are they really seen as doing the right thing? What's your opinion on that?
Really, looking at the record, we will say that at least from one administration to the other, from the Obasanjo administration, the Obasanjo was the one who established the ICPC and EFCC. Both agencies were actually anti-graft, and they are meant to deal with corruption, cases. So, but if we look at it, they are actually working, but they have some impediments. Let me put it that way. Either in terms of the constitution, the constitutional provisions, and then the input of, let me say, attorneys to most of those defendants. Then, besides, the agency itself is faulty in terms of when it comes to the issue of investigation. Do they do thorough investigation before coming forth, before bringing
and calling reporters to come and see we are doing something?
All those stuff, those are the things that actually make it appear as if they are not doing anything. But if we look at the records anyway, like up to the time of Farida Waziri, I think EFCC was able to get, I think EFCC got almost about 400 convictions. It's a huge one, though for a long period of time.
But from your assertion, we still have a problem with this plea bargaining clause and all of those other technicalities.
Honestly, when we look at the issue of plea bargaining, just as you said, honestly, to me, it's a way of encouraging corruption. Because the point is, when you talk of plea bargaining, it's about telling me to let go some of those things that I looted, and then I can go with the rest.
Enjoy the rest.
You understand? So, plea bargaining, to me, I don't see it as one of the best ways of solving corrupt issues.
Actually, it seems that some guys are actually calculative, of doing this, of siphoning public funds. Like they've done their calculations. Okay, if I take
still so much.
Yes, I'll still so much that when some is taken from me, I'll still be okay with what is left. Because I had a discussion with someone when some of these investigations were going on, and said, "Oh, that is a smart one. If you are taking so millions or billions of naira as alleged, then by the time he settles with so amount, man, he's still okay throughout his lifetime." And I was wondering, this is a kind of bad sample, for upcoming ones, civil servants and politicians alike, because they feel like if you have to do it, then do it to the point that when you're having your plea bargain, you still have something.
So that when you want to loot, you loot blindly, So that's, you see, let's look at it from this angle. EFCC, to me, what they should do, or both, all the anti-graft agencies, what they should do first is.
Did you say both anti-graft agencies?
Yeah,
we have more than two.
No,
don't forget we also have NFIU. We have
no, let's just
I know.
EFCC
and ICPC,
let's look at
for
those
instance.
Yes. That ICPC.
Because we'll come to talk about the proliferation.
Exactly. So now let's look at those two. Whenever they want to embark on this, now let's look at EFCC, which is actually headed by the police officers, and their officers are actually policemen. Now, when it comes to the issue of investigation, before you even inform the person that you are investigating, why not go so deep into your investigation before you let the person even understand or even be aware that you are actually investigating him. Because the point is this: everybody does it. It's everywhere all over the world. People will try as much as they can to obstruct investigation. You understand? Now, if you investigate someone to a point that by the time you bring the evidence to the table, the person will know that it's being caught pants down. So before you know what is happening, then you have your way when you get to the court. But here we are. You just, because somebody file a petition, because that is what most of them are relying on, they will say that, yeah, it is when you petition us. Even when people are crying out there that, oh, the governor of our state is the owner of so-so edifice somewhere, a particular company somewhere belongs to our governor, and he got all this. When he got to power, EFCC would turn deaf ears. They will say, yeah, because nobody has filed any petition. Okay. You understand? Now, if somebody now files a petition, the first thing you say, yeah, we've received a petition from someone somewhere against so-so governor. You think the governor will be so stupid? He will call his finance commissioner, the accountant general of the state, then the attorney general. These are the guys that will do
the job.
Now, they just, all they need doing is go back to the records and see, look at all and they
cover loopholes.
They cover everything. No, everything. The loopholes are covered already. So by the time the anti-graft agencies now come and say, "Oh yeah, we want to give us this document," because all they will rely on are documents presented to them,
and the documents have been doctored.
Yeah. So who is fooling who?
Okay, let's even look at this. What about the issue of people alleging that the government, successive government, even from the days of Obasanjo, when EFCC was established, has been selective in their investigations and the kind of petitions they actually work on?
Yeah, see, whoever alleges that is correct. You understand? When you look at, see, let's go back to the days of Ribadu, Nuhu Ribadu, as the head of EFCC. He was handpicking some people, even some people that are known to the society that they are corrupt human beings, public office holders. He didn't go after them. Why? Because they are probably the president's boys or friends.
Prosecution instead of prosecution.
So, exactly. Even though, in all fairness, most those people he went after were actually, corrupt people. They had committed one corruption, infraction or the other. So, but he was only selective in prosecuting those people. You understand? So, people didn't somehow believe.
Are we still finding that in the current configuration?
Yeah, with the new guy, we wouldn't know now. Because he's still new in office. We have to wait and see how he carries out his own operation.
But there's a revival.
Yes, because looking at his body language,
many of these cases, Fayose's case, and many other cases like that.
Those are the cases he inherited. So what the guy did. I guess what the guy did when he got to office was to, okay, let me have the records. Government is continuum. So when you get to such offices, definitely you have to look at the records. So probably he saw some unfinished cases, so he now started asking questions and probably invited the legal advisor to the organization to put him through on what to do. And maybe they still see that there's every possibility that we could still make something out of some of these cases, like the Fayose's case. For how long? You understand? It's been a long time. And the guy, I believe, is deadly sure, he's cocksure that EFCC is not going to find anything tangible that will make court send him to jail. So that is why it appears that the guy is, Fayose is, grandstanding.
That even made him to go customize the shirt and then
exactly. But he is sure that they didn't do their investigation very well, and that is why he will. See, to me, you understand. Probably his lawyer must have told him that, look, these people, they don't have anything tangible against you.
Against you.
And then, come to think of it, lawyers, you see, to me, honestly, they are doing their jobs. As a journalist, if you, just as you are here, if you do your first presentation and your GM doesn't like it, he will call you to order. Give me something better. Tomorrow, if you come up with something
After the post-mortem.
if it's not good, okay, the next thing he will do, he will throw you out. Now, but you see, as a good lawyer, you want to impress your client. You want to, you want to use that case to win more
Cases.
more cases to come to your side, that people will come around and patronize you. That is why I do tell people, you don't expect a lawyer to go to court, particularly in cases like this, to go and seek justice, but rather they go to court to seek judgment. And that is why they will do anything possible within
They
the
don't go
ambit
to
of
court
the
to
law.
seek justice. They go to seek judgment.
Judgment, exactly. So that you see, they will explore every avenue available within the ambit of the law to set their client free from the claw of EFCC. That is what they
Irrespective
do.
of which the
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
client
See,
is.
you know, maybe you still recall the case, or a certain case about NYSC in those days when Gani Fahimi was standing for someone. But unfortunately for that man, I wouldn't mention name now because the case is gone. So the man didn't confide in Fahimi. But when he got to court, he now confessed to some things. Nowadays, he destroyed the case for the man. So there was nothing he could do. So that is why a typical lawyer will ask his client, give me details. Let me have all the documents available. Then, with that, he will study it. That is the next thing he will do. It's just like a typical journalist. When you get a press release, you look at it. Even the writer might even take the best of the content to the last paragraph. It is you who will now bring it forth. You will now bring that out as the lead, and the person who wrote the statement will be shocked that, oh, look, and I was thinking they will pick it from this place. So it's just like that. So a lawyer will now look at that issue and all the documents, study the documents, then look at the loopholes. Then, unfortunately, EFCC will come to the court unprepared. That is the way I see it. Unprepared. Unprepared in the sense that they are not coming forth with enough evidence to nail that particular defendant. So why would they not let...
Does that align with what someone said that in certain other countries you leave a perceived or a suspected thief, and then you do your investigation, have all of your evidence before catching the suspect? But in Nigeria, you catch the suspect by putting somewhere, beat him, threaten him, do all of those, and then you're not looking for evidence everywhere.
Now, look at the issue of Osh Poppy, that guy, you know. The guy was enjoying himself. FBI didn't give him any, in fact, he didn't have any inkling that they were actually investigating him. But by the time they came for him, they presented the evidence. The guy, it was a straight thing. The court just sent him to jail because there were enough evidence. But here we are. The Yahoo boys are out there. Unfortunately, most of our policemen who are even chasing these guys, they only chase them to see what they can scoop from them. Not that they are ready to prosecute them because they don't have any evidence. The only thing they do now is, oh, yeah, you are riding a big car. This car belongs to you, not your dad. How old are you? Which job are you doing that you are riding this kind of expensive car? Then the next thing you see, those guys will beg them because they know that with a wave of money, they will let go. So, and that is what they do. They just give them some money. And unfortunately, I even learned, you know, from my job, you know, we've had a lot of different cases. Some of these people carrying POS all along, you know, they just give them the terminal, they just scratch the card, and that is all. You can't trace that money to their personal account.
All right, so I was looking at the EFCC, the mode of operation and all that, media trial, and all, well, do you think the media trial for suspects is actually helping the case, or it's kind of causing harm, in the process, both on the process of prosecution and to the image of the person being investigated?
Honestly, see, the media sectors, or let me say, media houses are being put on the edge when it comes to this issue of media trial. You know why? If EFCC gives OSRC, for instance, an information, maybe they do parade that, oh, yes, this man has stolen so amount of money. That is the way OSRC will relay it.
Sure.
You understand? Now, when the man is off the hook and the court now declares him, they acquit him and discharge him, the man can go to court. All he needs doing is to go back to that clip, and then it is OSRC now that he will come and prove. He will say that his name had been tarnished. He's been receiving different calls. This thing has been affecting his businesses. He will now slam OSRC with billions of naira. Now, will EFCC come and say, please, we were the one who gave them the story. Please let them go.
What imagine, we were supposed to be just the media.
Yeah, but you are liable. Oh. That is why, it is not all reports, you understand, that every media house will publish or that will relay. You understand? Why? You have to do your investigation also. But in the case of these corrupt matters, you are not, I would rather say that we don't have more, or let me say enough chance or opportunity to carry out investigation on this, even with the existence of the FOI. You see, most of these people, when you write to them, in fact, the moment you write, the next thing they do is to maybe hide some of those documents, because you don't know those documents. It is whatever they give to you that you will base whatever you are going to write on. So most of these things, that is why we have to be careful. You will remember now that even when we are showing some criminals who are being paraded, we'll cover their faces, and then on TV you ask them, you shoot them from the back, you understand, to avoid litigation. Those are the things that we do. But in the case of EFCC, you can't take away the name of the person. Most of these people are popular people, you understand. Now imagine a minister, somebody who had left office for some years ago. You are now telling him that he collected some money certain time, and you don't even have enough evidence to prove this. You are still inviting the man to your office. Do you need to invite him to your office? Tell the man to meet you in court. Your lawyer will write to him. Then he will invite his own lawyer. They give the brief to his lawyer. Then you meet in court. You don't have to intimidate them. You don't have to bring them to your office and then call the entire media to come and do the coverage. You now take their shots and put it on front pages of papers and say, oh yeah, the man is corrupt. Yes, the man has been caught or arrested, even when they invite people for questioning. It is regarded as being arrested.
So the point you're making is that there is need for better investigation in the prosecution of corruption cases in Nigeria.
Exactly.
Well, can we really say that these anti-corruption agencies have the balls, permit the word, to really get to the root of corruption cases? For instance, in South Africa, a former president was jailed for corruption, and you find that in China, if you are found corrupt, it's an express thing. You know what you face. In Nigeria, just like Professor Lumumba of the Kenya Law School did say, that you find people who are alleged to be corrupt, you find them at the corridors of power and not where they will be in some other countries. How can we stem this tide of unfortunate trend?
I would tell you quite all right that the anti-graft agencies, they have the wherewithal to get to the root of every corrupt allegations. Let me tell you, Let me tell you this: if they had actually got over 400 convictions, how did they do that? How did they investigate those issues? You will recall, particularly during the time of Waziri, Farida Waziri, she went after those in the banking sector, those who were corrupt, and they got to the root of those issues and they got convictions. So the way they did that, let them do it also to public office holders, I mean politicians who are corrupt. Let them follow them to the root. But unfortunately, do you know what? The agency too is also, let me say, a kind of handicapped, in the sense that, do you know that the Attorney General of the Federation has that power? It is in it's a constitutional provision that he can withdraw a case. It will just tell you that in the interest, though, that is what the law says, in the interest of justice. But now, who defines that the interest of justice? So now it is the Attorney General that will define it. So probably if one of his friends or one of the president's friends is undergoing that investigation, and they've seen it that, oh, at the end of the day, this man will end up in Kirikiri, maximum. They just say, look,
In the interest of justice.
in the interest of justice, EFCC withdraw this case.
That brings us to the need to recalibrate our judicial system, nay, to really overhaul our constitution. That is what many of us have been clamoring for.
Yeah, see, now, there are so many, let me say, problems to this, because now let's look at the bench, I mean the court. Judges now, they were saying there should be special courts for EFCC cases or corrupt cases. Now, how about the judges in those courts? Do they not still assign some cases which are quite different from corrupt cases to them to also sit on? Yes, they do. Now they have a lot on them. Would they do more than what they can do? Now, then, another thing is this. The lawyers, who is the attorneys to some of those defenders, they go to court, you understand, and begin to ask for maybe some injunctions or whatever that will slow down the procedural process. That the procedure of that case, you understand, this will reduce the time lag that will be, it will extend the time lag that will be spent on hearing such cases. And before you know what is happening, this thing will be dragging for so many years, and you won't see any attorney that will keep running like let's say like Usain Bolt, that he wants to get to the end of the case quickly, when he knows that quite all right that his clients will actually be found guilty. So all he wants to do is to see what will he do, how will he explore the provisions of the law to now create a clog in the process of that hearing. So that is what they do, and I wouldn't blame them.
Talking about clogs in the process of hearing, and there's also this trend in Nigeria of seeking different court injunctions. You sue me to court, I also sue you to another one. We get different injunctions, there are conflicting judgments and all that. Where is this leading Nigeria, especially the judicial system?
No, honestly, if we should talk about that, but let me. Before going to that, let me quickly look at it from this angle. If the anti-graft agencies could just resolve to something, complete your investigation and be convinced that you've had enough evidence to nail this person, that by the time you get to court, that in fact it will be difficult for his attorney to even turn the table against you. Then, if you do your job to that level, then the bench will even be saved of the stress of, all these different, let me say, injunctions and all those stuff that they will be seeking for. You understand? Now, you see, I think the issue you raised, that somebody will be here, will be in court A on a certain case, and we go to court B to file the same suit. I think that has to do with maybe, how do I put it now, a kind of synergy among all the courts. Maybe they are not. They don't make use of ICT. I think I don't need to wait till Justice A comes to tell me that, oh, look, this is the case that I did today, so that when they bring the case to you, so that you will know that, oh, I had already done something on that case. No. Or do I need to wait till the time they bring the file from court A to my court before I know what to do? No, there should be that seamless operation among them, that with that it will be so easy for any court. The moment you are filing it, then something will just pop up and say, this case is already somewhere.
Mr. Bululesh, this brings us to where we started the program from, where we were taking stories making headlines in the national dailies. Former head of state, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, was saying that yes, we cannot have military coup again. And my reaction to that as a Nigerian was, look, let's just do the right thing that will prevent coup, not all this lip service and hypocritical standpoints to development. I'd like to know your view about all of these anti-corruption crusade, no matter how lopsided they look, and the way and manner they either make or mar our image as a nation.
Yeah, the issue of of coup, whether which IBB said that whether there will be coup again or there will not, that is not possible. The point is we should first look at what are those indices that are, that are responsible for coups, in the past. If we should look at that. Are they still in existence? Those are the things we should look at. Yes, they are. You understand? Yeah, it is true that, because during the military, we don't enjoy freedom. Just as we are discussing this issue now, it were to be during the military period, probably some human being will have been beckoning me from behind the camera and be telling the state manager, bring that guy out. You would just call the GM, cut that program, bring me that guy. What is he saying? Does he have the right to say it? All those stuff. We don't enjoy such freedom during the military, you understand? So, and no one, you see, if you had tasted freedom before, you wouldn't like to lose it. So that is just a point. So that is why we don't want the military again, and we are praying that those people are the helm of affairs. I go religious in the sense that, in this part of the world, because we have some human beings who always find their way to seat of power, even when we all know that they are corrupt. Now look at some of those people who had been convicted in the past. They still speak in the society, and some people still believe them. Their words still hold water in the country, which shouldn't be. I could recall, in the past, as a kid, when you steal, your friends, your playmates, everybody will abandon you instantly. You'll be ostracized. But nowadays, when you steal, all you need doing is, from what you stole, buy drinks for those people that will ostracize you. Now, and before you know what is happening, they be hailing you.
You become a celebrity.
Yeah, we've seen some people, after serving their jail term, their people came with drums, with uniform, Ashwebi, they came, they started dancing, welcoming him back into the society. That is their leader.
Because they know the plea bargain
a
still
thief,
remaining somewhere.
A thief is their leader. And they're not ashamed to say that. If your friend steals, honestly, you will have this problem of, okay, how do I deal with him now? He's my friend. I can't disown him. Yet I don't want society to know that I'm his friend, so that they won't think that I might probably be a thief also.
So the problem of ownership of thieves is also one thing that's really giving us a huge problem.
Exactly. Now, see, I wonder what is happening to our cultural values, honestly.
Seriously?
That is just a problem. I don't know. We have to do something about this. And I think it starts from individuals' homes.
Yeah, that reminds me of some time ago when we had a show here. It was a talk show, and one of the respondents said when he returned from NYC that the grandfather said, "You're welcome, my son. You have done well. You see, how so person has gone to Abuja and stole, you will also steal your portion." Imagine what a prayer
And
from
mind
an
you,
old
that is
man.
a grandpa.
Yes, grandpa.
So let's just place him maybe 70. Now, if somebody who was born 70 years ago
That's that kind of
when the
mindset.
society was sane.
was sane, so what has gone wrong with his psyche?
Is society not insane?
My brother, compared to those days, the society is insane. So that is where the problem lies. Now you look at people, now when they steal, they don't care. The plea bargaining or that thing, that is the measure of treating corrupt practices that I hate most.
So in
Plea
your own
bargaining?
suggestion, what do you think should be done if there are no
If you-
plea bargains?
Now
Should we
come,
go?
now come to think of it, if the money we are talking about belongs to you, or let's say belongs to your dad, you understand? That is your inheritance. Now somebody came from somewhere. He now just, let me use the street language, kolobi your things. You understand? And now, and someone somewhere said, no, you know what is going to happen is that you take this portion, let him take this portion. Is he from your lineage? Do you have any relationship? Because it is common patrimony, so they now loot, and all they do is they just tell them, take some, give us some. It shouldn't be. Follow that thing to the root. Whoever needs to go to jail, let him go. That is when you discourage people. People are alleging civil servants. They say, oh yeah, it is the civil servant who teach politicians how to steal. How many civil servants are being sentenced to jail?
So then it goes to say that the absence of consequences for actions and inactions has also got us to where we are today.
Exactly.
Like former Vice President would say, that where we are today is a product of what we failed to do where we were the other day. So, going forward, if Nigeria's democratic experience will be anything to go by, what should be the disposition of every Nigerian, whether you're in power or out of power, so that we could sustain democratic governance in Nigeria? What should be our disposition?
To me, looking at what is happening around now, I guess the best way out is for everybody to check him or herself. It begins with each and every one of us. How do you relate with people? Do you covet what does not belong to you? Do you try to steal what does not belong to you? You have to think of this. And mind you, what those people are stealing, I must confess to you, some people will suffer for it in the future, if not now. That is just the real thing. Now, the election is coming, is by November in Ondo State. There will be election, governorship election. Who are the people coming forth, seeking people's vote? Who are they? Do we have their true, let me say, profile, who they were when they were young, who they were at their adolescent stage, and who they have been after they started working? How did they come across the money they are throwing around? Let's study them. What did they do for a living? But we are quickly carried away. Do you know what? Even those who we should trust, they are the people that will come and sell these people to us. And it is very easy. You know, those who should know, they know. But they will concoct something different and sell to the people who constitute the larger percentage of those who will cast the vote. All they need doing is, the moment, those politicians are smart too. They know those leaders, they call them community leaders. They go to them, they give them some millions of naira. And what would those people do? They just look at some heads of certain maybe youth groups and all those stuff. They call them, they give them some money. Oh, this is my candidate. He's the one who brought this money. I want you to vote for him. He's going to give you appointment. Now he's going to give you alone as appointment. How about the rest? How about your cousins? How about your extended family?
So there must be value orientation.
You understand? But people won't think about that. It's about that cash that comes to
gratification.
Unfortunately, the money fizzles away as soon as they receive them. Now, we are not looking at that. Nobody is going to ask questions that, oh, how did he get that SUV that is riding? Oh, all we hear people say is that, oh, the man is rich. Oh, stinking rich. Oh, I'm telling you, he doesn't need our money. He's a billionaire. No, he's richer than that man that you are calling a billionaire. He's richer. How did he get the billions? Was he fronting for some people at the corridor of power, the people in public offices, who they siphon money through him? He keeps some, then he invests some for them. We don't ask questions. Now, let's look at the candidates that are showing faces in Ondo State. Who are they? Let us know. Let them come forward to tell us, okay, I grew up in so community. Then let the people in that community testify to that. Forget about that, he's the son of the soil, or Mowani. Forget about that. Tell us the real person he is.
I'm going to tell you, people change. So it could have changed at one point.
Exactly. Honestly, that was what I told some of my mates when we met for the first time after we had left secondary school. You understand? We met at the residence of one of us at Oluyole bus stop. That is at Oregon in Ikeja. And there was an issue that we were discussing. I said, gentlemen, that truly we were still kids when the last time we saw each other. Here we are now, we are fathers because it's a boys only school. So that you don't think I'm promoting that school, I won't mention it, even though it's a public school. So, when we met, I said the only thing we should be looking at now is that the metamorphosis that will have taken place in terms of our attitude. Have we changed? Even though we were at the formative stage at that period. But how about our attitude to money?
Because then money was not involved.
Money was not involved. I must confess to you, during that period, when we were in secondary school, all we were aiming at was to attend the best university in the world. We were not thinking of even cars.
So in a nutshell, we must look at value orientation.
Exactly.
And we must probe who
Let's probe
we
them.
are bringing to the corridor of power.
Exactly.
That's called investigating our leadership recruitment process.
Yeah.
I have to thank you very much, Mr. Bolu.
It's a pleasure.
Well, words of advice, words of encouragement from a senior journalist there. I thank you so much for your time on the
It's my
program.
pleasure.
Of course, we do this again, God willing, on Wednesday. From my colleague.
Yes, you've heard it all. We all have a role to play when it comes to building the nation. Let's just do our part.
Sunday Kola is my name. Please enjoy the rest of the day. Good morning.